This is I Am Change podcast. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. There is zero success without change. Be the change you want to see. Believe, focus, achieve.
Good morning, Mr. Kleisant Akor and Mr. Gambo Haruna. You are welcome to Change podcast platform. So what are your takes concerning the border closure by the Nigerian government, Mr. Kleisant?
Well, I think for me personally, I want to commend the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration on that initiative of closing the border, because the border is very strategic to a country's security and economy globally. When you talk about border issue, be it sea or land border as this, or air, it's cargo as the case might be, is very strategic to the country's security and economy. So for a lot of Nigerians, there are mixed feelings concerning the closure. But like I said earlier, for me it's more or less a commendation, because it encourages made in Nigerian goods. We cannot be an economy that is completely reliant on imported goods, even for the goods that we can produce internally. Some other people that are against the border closure, not for it, want to argue that if a bag of rice that used to sell for 11,000 naira, now the border is closed, is going for as much as twice the price, then what is the use of closing the border? I would want to say that if the Nigerian rice goes for 20,000 naira, the money comes to Nigerians. It's better than giving half of that money to encourage other people's economy. And extensively, it's a value chain. Somebody's son, somebody's daughter is paid from the rice mill that is milling that rice, because it's Nigeria. So it might be a bit so hard on us. Whatever it's made to be good, sometimes have a very huge impact on the people before they begin to see the benefit. But you can see the trillions that the Nigerian custom is generating because of most of the goods that were diverted to the neighboring countries and now being cleared from the Nigerian port. But every policy of government has its own shortcomings and its own advantage. But in the case of the border closure, for me, it's a thumbs up. And I specifically said that it has helped to grow our economy, even though on the other side, it's also biting on the citizenry. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Can we hear your own opinion, Mr. Gambo Haruna?
The closure actually emanated from complaints from rice and poultry farmers that they are not getting profits. That leads to the closure of the border. And as I speak to you today, because of that closure, there are several rice mills in so many locations in Nigeria that are open for productions as a result of the closure. The poultry farmers are making profits. The foreign exchange, the demands for foreign exchange is less, which may lead to the kind of rise, the value of the naira. The naira will have more value. Yeah.
Thank you very much. But some people are of the opinion that when you go to the corner, it's like the borders are not closed. Especially Castina, people can still go into Niger to get other things. Meanwhile, when you go to Lagos, the borders are actually closed. So what's your take on this, Mr. Kleisant?
Okay, officially, like I said, there is no total closure of border anywhere in the world. You can draw from the United States president of trying to totally close the US border with Mexico. There can't be an absolute closure. There will be cases of people doing some one or two smuggling around. But the fact that if you are caught, whatever you're coming with will be seized and confiscated. That alone is already a pointer to say that the border is closed. I think there are insinuations here and there. There are no facts to support this claim. And there was even this video making the rounds in the social media of a honorable member that said at the plenary sections of the House of Representatives that he was there at night and he saw custom opening the borders and closing the border. Those are insinuations that are not founded with any backed up document to say. But there will be cases of disobedience or cases of disobedience both from the government officials and even from Nigeria. But by and large, the borders still remain closed. So if somebody is saying that in Lagos or the Southwest and the other neighboring sea borders, the adherence to this is more stronger than the North, except for the honorable members and few other people, governments have not come out to say the border is open. So I think those insinuations are not founded with facts. I can say that we can disregard them.
Mr. Gambo, do you want to say anything about this?
Yeah, I think it's just one of those lies peddled by politicians that the borders are not closed, and we have seen footages from televisions, credible source, that the border are closed. People living in the border areas have, and more especially in the north, have confirmed that the border is closed. In fact, some of them are even crying that they are not making business. So, which means really that the border is closed. And we must be patriotic to our country and stop attaching sentiments when it comes to national issues. The border is closed. We must support the government of Nigeria to achieve results. Let us not attach sentiments. And I salute the federal government. I salute the government of the President Muhammadu Buhari for taking that giant stride in closing the border. If it is possible, I will even demand that the border should be closed for maybe 1 or 2 years.
Thank you very much. Are there any economic impacts?
Yeah, I will refer to my first introductions as saying that the economic impact are huge. Like I said, in terms of patronage of our local goods, it's on the rise more than any time in our recent democracy. It's far on the rise because they've checkmate those SSEs and those of product coming in. And it's across the entire trade value chain. We talked about textile coming in. How can people invest to be able to rise the moribund textile industry where most of your textiles are imported from other countries and through the land borders and all that? So with this ban, you understand, investors might want to start coming in to rethink the idea of, Kaduna, for some of us that grew up in Kaduna, we know Kaduna to be a heap of activity of textile material. And that it was an economic hub for northern Nigeria. That is gone down. People lost their job. The famous one of the prominent labor unionists in Nigerian 21st century is Adams Oshomole, who was the labor chairman. It was through the textiles that he got the swim and rise through the rank and got to where he is. So imagine that we probably would have more of Adams Oshomole rising through the textile, but the textiles are, shut down now. And also for some other products that Nigerians can produce. And as a matter of fact, it's even hitting much on our West African neighbors. You understand? I can't understand why people like Toyota, people like major brands go to other African countries and set up their plants and build those stuff there and want to come to Nigeria to sell. We must think of country first. And it's better that Nigerians start looking inside because we have all it takes. We have the human resources, we have the natural resources, we have everything to be able to build. A country that is not productive, a country that is not producing what she will eat, what she will wear, you understand, is a country that is not independent. When you rely on goods from outside, you are not independent. You can't have a stable currency. But you can see now a bit of stability in our forex because of internal capacity production. The only way that your currency can gain appreciation and be known to be a strong currency around the world is when there's a heap of production going on in your country where you buy less from outside. The demand for forex will be low, so you have stability within your country's forex. So, but by and large, I said, for when you draw the scale, I would say the benefit, the Nigeria might not say, a lot of people might not agree with this, the benefit is 60-40. And for me, that is the goal.
Thank you. Mr. Gambo?
Yeah, I think there is, though we may not see it now. Yeah, but of course, in the near future, we will see it glaringly, just like my colleague has said that, the investors, so many companies around the world, investors have visited Nigeria as a result of the border closure. I recall recently one of these countries visited even the APC party chairman and begging for Nigerians to allow the border to be open, and he was replying that they just need to come and open a factory here so that we can create employment and so many foreign exchange and so we may not see the impact now, but I believe that very soon Nigeria will.
Thank you, but I have the opinion that is a welcome development. So, but what are the disadvantages for Nigerians and other surrounding countries like Benin Republic, Niger, Cameroon, and other West African countries?
Okay, well, I think one of the sideline of negative sideline of that policy, like I said, every policy has its good side and its bad side. One of the negative sideline is the impact it has had mainly on food products, because of the offset of the price provided by food harvest and all that. The price of these goods have generally gone up because it's a thing of demand and supply. When the local farmers and the rest cannot be able to meet the demand, of course, automatically there will be a price rise. Just the economic principle of demand and supply and pricing. So once the demand for rice now has gone up for the local people, and there's less local rice to be able to meet the demand, of course the price will shoot up and it will bite hard. Basically for those for food products, basically that's why I see the very negative effect moving forward in this border closure issue. But like I said, over time is something that we can, because when there's a serious demand, it will draw a lot of investment. People want to come and invest to make sure you build. So people that owns factory in Thailand want to come to Nigeria to build, because probably what they are producing in Thailand is no more coming to Nigeria. They want to come and invest and make sure that they get value for their money. If you invest in Nigeria and produce, labor is cheap. You said the rice cheaper, and eventually when there are more industries, more rice mills opening up, more demand for rice, the price will eventually crash when the supply now begin to outweigh the demand. Like I said, basic economic people. I think it's just the area of our food stuff, basically. Yeah.
Well, the Nigerian government have clearly said their positions as regards to they have clearly said their position as regards to the closure of the border and to their neighboring countries, taking cognizance of the Akor countries' mutual engagement. Before now, Nigeria has been a dumping ground for foreign goods that is not benefiting Nigeria as a country, but benefiting our neighbors. And I believe that Nigeria have nothing to lose in this closure, rather our neighbors. And from the reports we are hearing, all the gray areas that leads to the closure of the border may be taken care of, and then thereafter, where there is no cause for alarm.
Yeah, that is nice, great. On a lighter note, we keep talking about rice consumption. It seems Nigerians consume more rice than any other food products.
Yes, I think in Nigerian, rice is even consumed more than gari at the moment. Before now, we consume gari is the major food item, but at the moment, in this century, we breed more rice consumers, and because of that, the rice is more consumed, and when you touch that product in any way, it affects almost everybody.
There's something about rice, even from growing up. It's like it's a generational trend that has refused to go. All right, I remember growing up, if they ask you anywhere, they ask any of the child, the Nigerian child, what's the best meal? They say rice. So sometimes they say rice and beans. So it's like a default, and it's something that we grew up with, from one generation to the other. That I remember then there were these great influx of the US rice called Uncle Ben's. The foreign rice and all that, and so we're quite in tune with that. But over time, with Thailand and the rest rising the profile, the rice, but you can see that one destination for consumption of rice is Nigeria. That's why when the CNN, the renowned CNN broadcaster came to Nigeria, he has to ask the Minister for Information, Lai Mohammed, where he actually goofed and said the best jollof rice were found outside Nigeria. But I'll right to say, like the VP said then, that actually Nigeria have the best jollof rice, because the name jollof actually came from Nigeria. That tells you that even CNN understand how much appreciation we have for rice, for giving a different recipe and giving a different name. So we're a huge consumer of rice, and I want to use the opportunity. I'm a Nigerian to the core. I believe in this country. I believe that things are going to get better. I believe that it takes all of us to make things work. That for each succeeding government, we should look away from politics when the elections are over to support whichever government that comes on board with their initiative to be able to drive to better. The output of what either Jonathan, Buhari, or whoever is going to come in the future will leave is a collective input of what we'll give that will lead to that. So I believe that we should, in our own way, if we consume rice a lot, we should try to push for more rice farmers, encourage rice farmers, and try to bring in more investors into the rice industry. I also want to use the opportunity to appreciate what Dangote is doing, because you can see a lot of international value rolling now. He's actually into this rice thing to see that it's an area that money can be made from and employment can be created. So we should take advantage of the value chain of rice. And like Ofada, the former minister for agriculture, during the Jonathan administration, now the president of the African Development Bank, did a lot then, the father rice and the various rice. So the regime of different states now having their own rice, the Boeing rice, and all those era was actually brought by him. He encouraged that. Of course, it's built on by Adog, but now the current minister for agriculture is doing so much. And I believe that the goal is that in the next 15, 20, I'm a long-term person. I believe that change does not just come overnight. That is a long-term thing. In the next 20 years, Nigeria will be an exporter of rice instead of importing rice. I strongly believe in that. And I push for that, for us to do our best to be able to do order to make sure that that goal is attained.
Thank you. So in conclusion, Mr. Gambo, Haruna, what are your general opinion for or against the border closure?
Well, my general opinion does not differ with the opinion of the government. The government feel the pulse. They know the reasons why this border was closed in the first place. And once the governments are satisfied that the purpose has been achieved, the border should be open.
Yeah, okay. In conclusion, I've said that, it's two ways. We are the original concept of setting up Akor is to be able to trade without hindrances. And I believe that a lot of the ECOWAS countries were like a big brother to the other African countries. So because I say, free trade agreement that we've had and that has been established. But of course, it's Nigerian first. We need to be able to have achieved our goal of closing the border, because I know that government have a definite goal. It's not an indefinite thing of border closure. Once those, like the controller of customs says, when those issues are completely addressed, the border will be open and everybody will benefit from it moving forward. So I believe when that is done, we'll come back to play our big brother role. But for now, we need to survive first before we end up in survive. Because if Nigeria goes down, then all Africa goes down. So let's put our house together, then we can now open it up for SSCs that can go to other African countries to benefit, and we can always play our role as a big brother. So for now, let the government do what they need to do, and let our other neighbors, Benin Republic, Ghana, Togo, Cameroon, Niger, and the rest of them just understand that we need to take care of our house first. And when that is done, it's going to be a complete new paradigm. It's going to be a new opportunity for everybody, and we're going to continue to enjoy the agreement, the treaty that was signed as all encompassing ECOWAS brothers and of course African Union moving forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kleisant, Akor. And Mr. Gambo, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. You're welcome. You've been listening to I Am Change podcast.
I'm Victoria Oni, saying goodbye for now.